I'm Dr. Ruthie, professional sex educator. I blog over at exploringintimacy.com, but thanks to the great folks at funwares.com, I'm here answering your questions on sex and relationships. Here's one that came in through email. Dr. Ruthie, I'm having problems when my boyfriend and I have sex. I just don't seem to get off. It takes a long time if I even do at all. However, when I'm alone in bed and explore myself with masturbation, I get off without a problem. I don't want my man to feel like he's not doing his part. Any questions or any suggestions? Signed, 34, Lost in Sexland. Lost in Sexland. What a great question. What you're talking about is something that a lot of people experience, both male and female, although it seems that I hear more about it from women who are concerned about this. It's a really good question. So the first thing I want you to know is that it's really a fantastic sign. It means everything is going very well, that you are masturbating on your own and you're having the orgasms that you want to have when you masturbate, and you're having it in an amount of time that is working well for you. So it says you get off without a problem. So that is great. Keep on masturbating. You're doing everything perfect right there. When it comes to having sex with your boyfriend and it's taking a long time to get off, if it happens at all, I have a couple questions for you. First of all, I want to make sure that we're talking about the same definition of sex. So, for instance, when you're having sex with yourself, when you're masturbating, my guess is that you're using a toy or you're using your hand to directly stimulate your clitoris and possibly your vagina and G-spot, any areas that are orgasmic for you, and, playing with the rest of your body in all those hot ways, and perhaps fantasizing or watching things or listening to things that are stimulating to you. So are all of those things also happening when you're having sex with your boyfriend? Are you making sure that someone is stimulating your clitoris the right way? In other words, in a way that is feeling good to you and feeling like it's going to lead you to the orgasms you want to have? And are you giving yourself the amount of time you need and the permission to fantasize in any ways that you need to? Or want to. I'm using the word need, but really want is all we need to have here. And also, are you recognizing that it takes longer for most people to have an orgasm during intercourse, or at least for most women, than it does for men in guy-girl pairings? So it's totally typical and perfectly healthy and normal for us to have faster, more ready orgasms when we're masturbating than when we're having partnered sex, especially partnered intercourse. As great as intercourse can be, it's not, first of all, it's not the only thing that's sex, right? Sex is a much bigger definition than that. In fact, it doesn't even have an official definition. So we can include all the good stuff we want to in the word sex. Anything that is erotic for us, that leads us to the pleasure and perhaps the orgasms we want to have, we can include in the definition of sex. So let's not limit ourselves to intercourse by any means. Intercourse by itself, especially for female body folks, isn't really designed to lead to orgasm just by itself for most women, although for some women it certainly does. It depends on our anatomy, it depends on lots of other stuff. So you want to make sure that you're giving yourself the direct stimulation in those orgasm spots that you do when you're masturbating, or that you're having your partner provide that stimulation if that works for you and that's what you want. And to know that taking more time is great. So the last part you said is, I don't want my man to feel like he's not doing his part. Well, what is his part? That's a really good question. Is it suddenly going from all your responsibility to give yourself orgasms when you masturbate to all his responsibility to figure out how to give you orgasms when you're having intercourse together? Or is this something you're working towards, these orgasms as a team, and figuring out how it works best with each of you taking different roles? So that may mean that you're touching your clitoris while the two of you are getting it on, or he is, or you're moving back and forth between those things. Or that you get off from having hand jobs and then the two of you have intercourse and then something else happens. Or maybe you don't have intercourse at all, whatever the case may be that you like. So there's this sort of idea that in guy-girl pairings, she doesn't touch her clitoris anymore, doesn't do any of the things that work when she masturbates, and then he rides on like a knight in shining armor, sexually speaking, on his big horse, and comes in and gives you orgasms, and that's his responsibility to figure out all of that in a couple pairing, and that just doesn't make sense for either of you. It's bound to fail. So perhaps a good conversation is called for between the two of you on what everybody's role is to make sure everybody's having a lot of pleasure and what works best for the two of you and how you can mix that up when you want to, and making sure that the things that are successful for you, orgasmically speaking, are still happening during intercourse or happening in a unique way to intercourse but still happening. I'm Dr. Ruthie. I hope that this is helpful for you, and I'll see you at the next video.